Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaura Rasampada Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Gaura Nitai 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyabadi Pashatyadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's on this speaker. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय राधा श्याम जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बालदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गोविंद
ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिलपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामचार्य चल हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा गोविंद जी की all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasingaya Namaste Gaya Praladaladaine Praladalaine Hiranyakasipurvakshaha Nyakasi Vakshaha Silathankanakalāye Silathankanakalāye Ito narsimho parato narsimho Ito narsimho Yato yato yamitato narsimho Yato yato yamitato narsimho Bahir narsimho hridaye narsimho Bahir narsimho hridaye narsimho Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade Narasimhamadim Sharanam prapade Narasimhamadim Sharanam prapade Narasimha Sharanam prapade Tavakara kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakasipu Tano Bringa Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisa Hare Jayo Jagadisa Hare Jayo Jagadisa Hare Vakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Sringa ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरहरि जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरहरि जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद महाराज नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल The most merciful Lord नरसिंह भगवान देव की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल
Hare Krishna. Can everybody please move forward? Hare Krishna. Can everybody please move forward? Sit closer. Today we have a very honored speaker today. So His Grace Kalpavruksha Prabhu. So Kalpavruksha Prabhu is the disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. And many of you know that His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, how great his entire life are showing as a humble devotee. So Kalpavruksha Prabhu is a humble disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. So today we have a great fortune to listen from Prabhuji. So let us welcome Prabhuji saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Can we all please move forward a little bit, please? Please come forward. So please sit closer. Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari
Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giravardhari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giravardhari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari. Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Giravardhari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Giravardhari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundara, Shama Sundara. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha. Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Can you have that mic stand? I don't think that. Haribol. Oh, that's working. Okay, never mind. Om Gyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakshaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, on behalf of myself and ISKCON of Central New Jersey, I'd like to apologize for being here. I'm the only person they could find tonight. But anyway, Govardhan got it. So, this evening, I will be reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita from my iPad. I find it very practical, easier than the book. So tonight it will be Karma Yoga, chapter 5, verse 29. This is, Prabhupada wrote a famous essay from this called The Peace Formula. Is there like an echo? Is it about? No. It's not, is this better? I don't want to have, all right. I don't want to put the microphone in my mouth. I actually don't need a microphone. I can talk loud enough. Is everyone able to hear me? No, I can actually talk loud enough, trust me. Are you able to hear me? I'd rather not use the microphone because I can talk loud enough. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Okay. Bhoktaram yagya tapasyam sarvaloka maheshwaram suradam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam satim richati. Bhoktaram, beneficiary. Yagya, sacrifices. Tapasyam, of penances and austerities. Sarvaloka, all planets and demigods thereof. Maheshwaram, the Supreme Lord. Surdam, benefactor. Sarva, all. Bhutanam, of the living entities. Gnatva, thus knowing. Mam, me, or Lord Krishna. Santim, relief from material pangs. Richati, achieves. Translation. Oh, actually, I want to ask Govardhan Das to recite. Well, you guessed which verse I was giving class on, so now you have to at least recite. I don't want Mike. Anyone else? Suradam sarva bhutanam Natva mam santam richati Bhoktaram yagyatapasam Sarva lokam maheshwaram Rishta? Surdam Sarvam Bhutanam Surdam Sarvam Chati. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Try to move this mic closer. The sages knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Purport. The conditioned souls within the clutches of illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the peace formula, or the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because He is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than He. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is described as Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be lords of all they survey, but actually they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are His subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete consciousness. The 5th chapter is a practical explanation of Krishna consciousness. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. To work in Krishna consciousness is to work with the complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. Direct Krishna consciousness is Bhakti Yoga, and Gyan Yoga is a path leading to Bhakti Yoga. Krishna consciousness means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. And the perfection of this consciousness is full knowledge of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmental part and parcel. He comes into contact with Maya, or illusion, due to the desire to lord it over Maya, and that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter. For it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial toward anyone. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in an effort to control the senses and conquer the influence of desire and anger. And attaining Krishna consciousness by controlling the above-mentioned passions, one remains factually in the transcendental stage, or Brahman Nirvana. The eightfold yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is served. There is gradual process of elevation in the practice of yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, dhyan, dharana, pranayama, and samadhi. But these only preface perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. Jai Prabhupada. So, sorry, I got it situated here. So, for myself, I chose this verse, to read this verse. When I first became a devotee, one of the first things that I read was I got a lot of Prabhupada's small books, and one of the first things that I read was actually the peace formula. So when I was asked to give class, this is a true story. So I did this thing, right? On here, I have this Bhagavad Gita app, and it's really, and you scroll through it. So what I did, I kind of did like a, like a slot machine. I just kind of like scrolled through, closed my eyes. I scrolled through the chapter, hit that, and then I scrolled through the verse, and it just turned out to be 529. So it was for me, it was like, okay, this is a sign that this is an important thing that we should discuss, because it's a very fundamental aspect of Krishna consciousness, and the very building blocks of Krishna consciousness are based on the fundamentals that Prabhupada gave us. So for myself, I'm not a great, most of my devotional career has happened through what I've been able to do with my hands, not so much with my brain. So I've always tried to offer service in a way by what my skills were, and my skills generally come through art and through building and and working in a way. So that's one of the most important principles that Srila Prabhupada gave us. And I was researching this the last couple days, and in different places at different times, Prabhupada gave these 4 principles. He actually didn't give them all at once, but he said, preaching is the essence. Purity is the essence, books are the basis, utility is the principle. So there's actually been some debate if Prabhupada actually said this or not. So I was like, did Prabhupada say this or not? Prabhupada said all those things, but at different times. So he didn't actually say it. But for myself, the idea of really taking a practical approach to Krishna consciousness is through utilizing everything that Krishna has given us in some way, either within ourselves or things that he lays in front of us in some way, and we try to offer those things to Krishna. So this verse, I did some research also by listening to other devotees speak on this verse, and it's a very, very, very simple, but I think underrated way of when you get to speak on something, is it's very important to hear other people speak about it first. So I try to do that repeatedly this week, and I drew conclusions of what all the other devotees were saying. And it's simple points that are made is that this verse is kind of broken down into 3 parts in the actual purport. So Krishna is saying in the first line, the sages, right? And who are the sages? The sages are the people that have studied this, that know this, that, not just know Bhagavad Gita, but they're familiar with so many other scriptures, so many Vedic scriptures. And within the scriptures, we have the system of Siddhanta. And Siddhanta means what? That we come to the end, right? We come to some conclusion at the end. And the Siddhanta, if we study and we hear properly, we'll understand that the Siddhanta is always the same, that it's Krishna or Vishnu that all these things should be offered to, ultimately, in the end. And Krishna goes over this over and over again in Bhagavad Gita. He says that he's the enjoyer. He's saying it in this verse, that it's him alone who enjoys all these things. So everything that we do in life, whether it's through our karmas, through our gyan, whatever, ultimately, he's saying right here that the ultimate purpose of all these things is for his enjoyment alone. Because Krishna ultimately, in fact, is the supreme enjoyer. Krishna comes here to this planet. I was just yesterday explaining this to my kids, because they have these like really funny and like super challenging questions that make me question, like, God, like, what did I, like really, 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 really strong, but kind of innocent questions, and it always challenges me. So, why did Krishna come here? Why did Krishna manifest on earth? And he came here to ultimately as we know, Bhagavad Gita says he's here to establish Dharma. He's here to deliver the pious, annihilate the miscreants, all these things. But when we look at when he comes here, he's really here to give us, ultimately, how does he deliver us? What does he do? He gives us this process in some form or another, either through example or through what's called proxy, right? We know this word proxy. Like, so many things go on in the world through proxy. Like, maybe not directly, like Saudi Arabia at any given time is fighting a proxy war against Iran and, through other countries. So Krishna sometimes comes and delivers us through proxy, through other agents. It's not just, he's always establishing the Dharma, but we have to be ready to receive it openly within our hearts, and not through faith, because this process I've learned for myself, this process of Krishna consciousness, when I review my life every couple of years, none of this has ever been about faith for me. This has always been about understanding and belief. And believing what I understand. It's not just, we don't have to take some blind faith in saying, religion historically has been such a turnoff has turned people away just on this idea that we have to just believe things dogmatically. In the sense that, you just believe this and in time you'll see. Krishna's given us so many things. So many things. It's up to us to put the pieces together to see in what way he's given this to us. In 1965, Srila Prabhupada came to the U.S., and it wasn't, we've heard the story so many times. He could have just stayed home. He could have stayed at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. He could have just hung out, finished his days out. He was determined by proxy to be that agent of Krishna, to come here. So even the people that are here from other countries, so many Indians came here from America. Guess what? Krishna's not letting you get away, because he sent Prabhupada here. And he established this in the U.S. And he made this process available to everybody. And he gave us sadhana. He gave us these scriptures. He gave us a proper understanding of these scriptures. He gave us sambandha gyan, right? He gave us the ability to see what is what and how it is that. It's not just, we shouldn't just take things on blind faith. We shouldn't just feel that, the guy that's read two books more than us or 3 books more than us, he's telling us, so we should know. No, all those books are available to us also. So we have to decide how much we want to become a part of this process. One of the most amazing things to me for what Prabhupada gave was he explained Krishna consciousness. He said, this is a spiritual science. This isn't just a religion. It's not just a set of beliefs, right? And does anybody know what the 2 things that qualify, the 2 basic tenets, what qualifies something as a science? Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness is a science. I just learned this myself because these terms myself. My oldest son, he's a physics major. So all I hear is science now. So science has to be 2 things. It has to be demonstrable, meaning it can be demonstrated. And the second thing is it has to be repeatable, right? What you're doing. So Prabhupada gave us this peace formula. And within this peace formula, there's a science. There's an actual science. And what that science is that for us, we have to follow the steps that he's given us. And the first step is, when Prabhupada, I had the great fortune as a young devotee to begin my devotional life serving at 26 2nd Avenue the second time. Prabhupada started this first temple in Manhattan. It was actually The second space, the first space was 61 2nd Avenue, which is up north kind of. It's like up on the other side of the block. You can visit that place also. And then the devotees secured this place, Matchless Gifts, 26 2nd Avenue. And then that became the temple. So still to this day, if you go into the temple, there's a little sign on the wall and what Prabhupada's first suggestions were. He didn't tell anybody, stop doing this, stop doing that. Well, he gave the 4 regulative principles, right? No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. But his first suggestion to his devotees were just to add these principles to your life. Don't give up anything first, right? So by a gradual process, it's not that we're here and we're being told what to do. You know, Prabhupada, he didn't give us a bunch of rules. He gave us principles of knowledge. Principles that we could apply to our lives to make our lives better, to make not just for ourselves, but to make the world a better place. This was Prabhupada's goal, was to change the world. It wasn't just to come here again and get comfortable. It wasn't this idea just that, you know, we're all here together and it's like a big party every Sunday, which ultimately it is. And we should be very grateful and thankful for that, because who else can say that they do this? I'm still amazed, almost 30 years later, coming here. It's still going on. I'm so fortunate, right? We're all fortunate. We get to share this together every week. But although back to the idea of science, so the beginning of being a part of the peace formula is for ourselves. It's to the degree that we apply these principles to our life. Prabhupada gave us that process to become pure, to become purified. When we become purified, we have the much greater ability, much greater enthusiasm to share what we have with other people. This process of Krishna consciousness, I've found for myself, my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, was so much in the mood of just sharing Krishna consciousness with other people in a loving way. So I always took that to heart. And in some ways, after he left the planet, I think is when I started really seeing what his effect was on other people and how giving that, the desire to want to give Krishna consciousness to other people is actually the most effective means. Like, we're not trying to change people. We're trying to infect people, right? With the spirit of Krishna, with the love that we feel for Krishna, to whatever degree that it is. How, if we think it's big or we think it's small, is completely irrelevant. All we have to do is give it, right? One thing that he would always say is that if we want to experience what love feels like, then we have to give it first. That's the most practical experiencing love, is to first give it. And the degree to which we want this for other people, this process, is the degree to which we can have it for ourselves. So we cannot just sit and think that, you know, oh, I'm doing this, and that's important. That's part of the process. But we have to have the earnest desire and use everything we have to try to give this to other people. Even if it's just in a personal space, in a personal way, then we're doing our part, you know. So much of what you hear about today in this world is about the environment, environmental impact that we have. The first environment that we live in is up here. It's in our head. That's the first environment that we interact on, is just within ourselves. So what are we doing? How are we doing it? To what degree are we doing it? To try to give it to other people, to give this Krishna consciousness to other people. So back to the verse. So Krishna, in one sense, it's almost like you could just read this purport over and over again because it's all there. Like everything is just, it's really just like, this whole verse is like just one super long sutra, you know, and sutra is what? It's like this condensed form of a larger idea that gets, you know, almost put into like a tablet form, and then you take it in and you digest it over time. So I actually heard a funny, and it's related to this. I heard a funny story, so that I want to share. I actually read this morning. So there was this church, right? And the pastor, it was like some Catholic church. So in the way that we sit and get, anyone that's not familiar with church, I grew up as a Catholic. As a child, I renounced the Catholic Church at 14, got into Eastern philosophy, joined the Hare Krishnas at 17. So, but as a child, I grew up in the church. So as we sit here, we give lectures in the church. They give what's called a sermon. Anybody that's not familiar, so they stand up at the pulpit. Same thing. They give a lecture. So some people were complaining that this priest 4 weeks in a row, right, gave the same sermon. So some members from the church went to the diocese, which is like almost like the local GBC for the Catholic Church, right? And went and said, this priest, he's just giving the same sermon. So the bishop, who's the next guy in line, says, well, what did he say? What is it, Chris? And then he said, I really don't remember. He said, then you should go again and listen to it. Well, ask him to give it one more time, and then maybe you'll hear it. So Krishna consciousness is somewhat like that in the sense that Srila Prabhupada, he said so many things, and with so many parallels, and it sounds somewhat repetitive in the sense that we keep hearing, you're not the body, you're not the body, you're not the body. That's the first lesson that Prabhupada gave when he came to America. He said, until you can do that, he said that's ground zero. That's a starting platform for spiritual life, is at least hear that idea, at least accept that idea. And if you can't do something with affection, if you can't embrace an idea affectionately, at least first do it with sincerity. At least try to come. In the same way, we're worshiping the deities. I have zero affection for the deities because that's how I feel. But at least when we come here, I try to do it with sincerity. We should all just try to come here, at least offer something with sincerity, because Krishna eventually will fulfill our desires. The universe is constructed in such a way that we live these lives. We can live for like 100 years or something. What is that in the scale of Western science and Vedic science, both coming to a similar conclusion that the universe is 4,300,000,000 years old? What is 100 years in comparison to that? Absolutely nothing. Mother Irmela was here like a year, 2 years ago. I remember she's the first person that put this into perspective for me. She gave a lecture in the community hall. I remember it distinctly. And she said in the scale of like that 4 billion years, that a human, in a relative term to 100 years, to living our life within 100 years, to 4,300,000,000 years, that 100-year lifespan, if we even make it that long, and who wants to even live that long? Like, who even wants to live that long? Like, everyone in my family, like my parents, my mother's side, my father's side, they all live like well into their 80s, and every time I've just been like, oh my God, I hope I don't make it that long. I mean, they're not devotees, so it's a different lifestyle. It's not pleasant, trust me. So, but my point is, so when we put everything on a relative scale, it's something like 0.00007 of a second. So for us to perform any austerity in this life, we think it's like so much for us, you know, to chant for like 2 hours. It's like, oh my God. I mean, at least I'll be the first to admit it. You know, everything is like such a hassle. Unless I'm watching TV, or then that's like, you know, your mind just plays tricks on you like that. You know, any endeavor that we make in spiritual life, it seems, but in reality, in relative terms, it's such a short time, and I take it for granted. I know I take it for granted. You know, Krishna's giving us, Prabhupada's given us these amazing opportunities to advance, to serve one another, to purify ourselves, to do so many amazing things. And are we really taking the opportunity? Are we really using our time wisely? My Guru Maharaj made such an endeavor when he was here. He passed away about 11 years ago, unfortunately, because I really wish everyone in this room that didn't meet him could have met him. But he was so much conscious about time and not wasting Krishna's time. His watch was set 20 minutes fast. And he always felt he wasn't doing enough, no matter what he did. And when his final days were here, I had the very bittersweet opportunity to be with him on his last days. And all he did was said to himself, I should have done more. And how is that even possible for a person like him? Prabhupada was the same way. He followed Srila Prabhupada's example, which was right up to the very end. Prabhupada, right up to the very end. Anybody that's not seen the video, just Google YouTube Prabhupada Final Leela or anything to that effect. And you'll see right up to the very end, Srila Prabhupada, what was he doing? He was dictating Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he felt that it was so important to give this message of Krishna consciousness to so many people. As many people as he could. Because this movement has always been about world conquest. So we should never think that it's about being comfortable. We should never think that it's just about our own personal space. We have work to do. The world's not becoming a better place. Prabhupada wouldn't have written the peace formula if we didn't need it. He wouldn't have written that essay. Right? So this is like all of us, myself. I'm up here preaching to myself. We have work to do. We have a commitment to make to ourselves, to be committed to the Parampara, who's given us all these things. So, there were just a couple small points from just to finish the short ideas of the verse, is just that Krishna, he's our ultimate benefactor. You know, he says it here. He's a well-wisher of everybody. But in order to do that, you know, we have to do it. It's not just like we're not just going to come and sit and, you know, all the endeavors we make in material life, right? I mean, we make so many endeavors. Why? Because we know we get results. We work for things. Spiritual life is the same thing. We have to work for it. We have to be willing to work for it. And when we're willing to work for it, you know, another point that my Guru Maharaj used to say, he always used to say, let the Krishna magic happen, right? He always used this term. And the Krishna magic is what? It's when we're working for Krishna. Krishna just does the magic for us. You know, I recently started getting back into reading Mahabharata, right? Which is like probably what has maintained a large part of what's maintained my interest in Krishna consciousness over the years. And we see, you know, Krishna so many times. Think of all the things that he did for the Pandavas. So many things. I was just reading this. If Krishna wasn't there, the Pandavas were powerful, no doubt. Although without Krishna's help, without Krishna's support, without Krishna's suggestions, without Krishna's intelligence, so many times they would have been lost. Yudhisthira, Krishna told Yudhisthira, just say it. Ashwatthama's dead, right? What did he say to Bhima? Break Duryodhana's thigh, right? Because Krishna knew that that's what was capable. That's how you did it. How many times did he give Arjuna, these little sneaky tricks to overcome so many people? Pull in front of, we're bringing the chariot in front of Bhishma. Drishti would be there, and then now you're going to kill him. And that's what you're doing, right? So, and even Nakula and Sahadev, there's, you don't hear so much about them, but I was also researching some things is how Krishna appeared to them. He appeared, I won't get into the story because it's supposedly, I don't want to start a war between the North and South here because there's two different versions of how these things went. And Govardhan's laughing, so he must know something. So, so to finish, right, I would just like to say and encourage everybody to, if you haven't already, to please take up this process. The ones who have taken up this process, I'm extremely grateful for because you've all inspired me, right, in some way. And anything that I can do, my name is Kalpa Vriksha. My Guru Maharaj gave me that name because he told me that it's my job to serve everybody. Right? Whatever your desire is, if I can do for you, I'll try the best of my ability to do. Right? I don't know. I try. It's a long, very long list. So if anybody has any questions, comments, criticisms, or insults, please, I'm here. If anyone would like to say anything. Yes, Julian. Yes, many things. If I'll relate. So before, well, I'll tell you one thing that's really super important, and it's relatable to this community because we have so many families here, right? This is, generally speaking, this is a Grihastha-based community, and so before I was initiated, and I was like, when I got initiated, I was actually very, very hesitant and very scared to take initiation. There's no, like, I was just like, nah, I don't want to do it. Like, that was and it was just being offered to me, like Kalpa, or, well, Bhakta Kevin, right? Me. You should get initiated this year. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he travels so much, he may not, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. It was just out of fear. It was just out of my own lethargy, out of my, So before this was, I was actually at my godbrother, who was Adam, who's now Agni, at his initiation, right? And it was initiation and wedding, right? They're having double ceremony that weekend. It was like one day. And it was at Anuttama's house in D.C. Anybody who knows Anuttama, the car salesman from D.C. area. So I'm just setting the scene because it's still so clear in my head. So before the wedding portion, right, my Guru Maharaj, well, he said two things. Actually. One thing was, he said, anybody that's not serious that doesn't want to be in this arena, meaning the Yagyashala there, he said, just get out. Just leave now. And my first reaction was, you know what, I better leave right now. And I wasn't even up for initiation. But the point was, he was just being, just saying, like, this is a very serious process. And don't do it until you're ready, But you should be working towards that goal, right? And then the next day, so we spent the night, the next day was the wedding. And he gave advice to all the married couples. He said a marriage is a competition, actually. It's to see which of you two, meaning the man and the woman, who can serve each other better in the relationship. Because if you don't take that approach to your marriage, it will not work. Because the first thing we have to remember ourselves is the servant, always, to everybody. And so in a marriage, in a relationship, we have to see ourselves as competing with that other person. Who's going to be the better servant, right? Anybody that knows the writings of Bhaktitirtha Swami, he wrote this. The first book he wrote is called The Beggar, right? And it's written in like what's called prose, like a prose style, meaning it's just kind of like a very, very nice, very eloquently spoken, a lot of reference to Shastra, but not necessarily speaking outright, like not quoting verses, but just, it's very nice reading especially for newer people. And he has this one passage in there called, "There is no imperfection in the spiritual world." And I wish I would have brought it up now that I'm thinking of it, because it's such a beautiful... But the gist or the purport of what it means that there's no imperfection in the spiritual world, it relates itself so nicely to this, is that in the spiritual world, everything we're doing here in this life right now, the process that Prabhupada gave us, this is all practice here to get back to Goloka. Because there's no imperfection there. There's no envy there, right? You cannot enter Goloka Vrindavan if you have a tinge of envy towards Krishna or what he's doing. If you want his position, you're in the right place right here. Or if you want to try, just hang out here forever, right? That's what this material world is. It's just a big stage. We can push our desires on each other. We can impose our will on each other. Go for it, right? Krishna is Bhagavan. He has all the opulences. And one of those opulences, he's the most renounced. So what's a part of that, being renounced? He's like, he loves us. He wants us to come back. He wants us to come back to Godhead. But at the same time, he's kind of like, I told you the deal. Now you got to do it. Same thing, right? Isn't that what he said to Arjuna? Telling you all this. I just told you everything. Like, I told you everything I could possibly tell you, right? For that Arjuna could hear. And now it's up to Arjuna. Krishna is the intelligence. Arjuna is the one that acts upon it, right? In Bhagavad Gita. So it's the same for us. This is, Prabhupada has given us something. And the beautiful thing, and we should never forget this, you want to be fascinated by the Hare Krishna movement? By the idea of the Hare Krishna movement. This Prabhupada did in 12 years what it's taken every other major world religion to do in over 1,000. In 12 years, entire globe, there was a temple somewhere. And the only reason there wasn't one on Antarctica is because you're not allowed to go there. Shri Shri Radha Shyama Ki Jai. Right? So we have to put all these things into perspective. And an attitude of gratitude, it's another thing. That's another key point. Bhaktitirtha Swami would say it all the time. We have to have an attitude of gratitude. Right? Because with gratitude, when we're grateful, when we appreciate what we have, we tune ourselves so much more into it. We become so much more in tune with it. Right? We don't just it'll always be there. You know, that's an attitude of non-gratitude. So, anyone else? Any critiques, please? This is actually my first class in the temple. So any but part of me, I have this thing about me. Very, very, maybe something I have to get over. Rarely do I ever accept not accept a challenge. So Madhupati challenged me in the office last week to give the class. And without flinching, I said, I'll do it. So anyway, you know, everyone here has something to share with each other. And that's what makes this temple such a wonderful place, is that for the last 10, 12 years that I've been a part of this community, that's all I've seen, is sharing and caring, right? Because we have so many pure souls here. Very, very fortunate. This is not your typical devotee community. I can say that because I've been a part of many different. Every temple community is wonderful in its own way. But this temple community is so much based on caring and love. Just naturally, organically, that's the direction it's going in. You know, Bhushara Prabhu, right? Prabhupada disciple, he comes here and he gives class. Every time we talk, he's just ecstatic. And all he's talking about is this congregation of how this is what Prabhupada wanted. This is the way it is, man. You know how he gets so excited when he talks. And that's what he says. You know, and coming from a guy like him, he's been around forever. You know, he was a kid when he joined, right? He's seen it all. He's done it all in Krishna consciousness. And if anyone can say it, it's him, right? So I can only repeat his words. So I'm just happy to have this opportunity to share all these things with you. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you for coming to the Sunday feast program. Anybody came here first time today? Can you stand? Can you please stand up? So let's thank them 3 times. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Simesa Prabhu will give some token gift to all of you. Simesa Prabhu is right here. And let's thank our Kalpavruksha Prabhu for enlightening all of us. So what is the essence we all learn? Don't be complacent. Whether it's taking care of family or job or everything is Krishna's duty. Make sure we utilize everything for Krishna's service. So put that as a goal. Don't be complacent. Don't take it for granted, anything. So today's Sunday feast, we don't have any sponsors. If anybody would like to sponsor, please contact one of us. Okay. Jugendra Prabhu is sponsoring. Jagadish Simha Prabhu want to sponsor today's Sunday feast. Let's thank him. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So some upcoming events. January 23rd, Tuesday, is Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu appearance. One of the Panchatattva we see on the altar. So Tuesday, and we have programmed 6:30 to 9. We'll have Abhishek, Kirtan, Katha, and Prasad. Please try to come, even if it's late. I know it's a weekday, it's tough, but this is the opportunity to take the mercy from Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu is not here. Without him, Mahavishnu himself is coming down to be a servant of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So that means we need to be much more eager to serve Advaita Acharya Prabhu, so that we can receive the mercy. Okay, so that is Tuesday, and we also will celebrate on Sunday as well, 5 to 9 p.m. But the Abhishek will be mainly on Tuesday, actual day. So try to join. Then January 29th, Monday, is Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day, Balram's appearance day. Non-different, Nityananda Prabhu is also part of Panchatattva, and very important day. If somebody wants to progress in devotional service, this is the day. So we must do some special service is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. 64 items. One of the item is on special days like Janmashtami, Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day, Gaur Purnima day. We should take up one service, whatever it is, special service, and offer it to Krishna, offer it to Guru, offer it to Prabhupada. So that makes it much more, we are receiving more mercy. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day, and that is 29th Monday, fasting till noon. Even the Tuesday, Advaita Acharya Prabhu appearance also fasting till noon. Then we will be celebrating as well. That day Abhishek will be there in the evening, 6:30 to 9. As well on Sunday also we will be celebrating